We will end this section the same way we ended circles and ellipses. I need to take this equation that is wrote in general form and put it into our standard form. Once I do that, then I can analyze the equation by finding the center, the transverse axis, vertices, foci, asymptote, and then we will graph it. So when I put this from general form to standard form, we have to complete the square. Now with this, I want to pay attention to which one is positive. I know just by looking at this squared portion here that this is a hyperbola because they're opposite sides. You've got one square term that's negative and one that is positive. So that tells me right there that this is a hyperbola. I want to put my positive one first. I'm going to bring my y. So I've got 9y squared. Then I want my other y, which is plus 54y. Now I'll grab my x's. So negative x squared, then plus 4x. And then I'm going to move this 68 over. Okay, so we need to complete the square. And when I do that, I need to take out whatever's out front so that I'll have a coefficient of 1. So in this one, we're going to factor out a 9, which leaves me with y squared plus 6y plus, we're going to leave some room, minus, and I still want this to be positive, so I'm going to take out this negative with it. When I take out a negative, that's going to leave me with now a positive x squared. 4 divided by negative is a minus 4x. And then we will add something here. And this still equals negative 68. So let's figure out what to add. We will use b over 2 squared to figure out what goes into these blanks. So the first one, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Now, what I add to one side, I do have to add to the other. But I did not add 9. What did I add? I added 9 times 9. So I added 81 there. So when I add 9 here, it becomes plus 81 there. Excuse me again. Okay, here. This is my b, my negative 4. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2, and negative 2 squared is 4. Now, when I add 4 here, what am I actually doing over here? Well, this is negative times 4. So what I'm actually doing is subtracting 4. So that's how I keep that equation balanced. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other, but you have to pay attention to what you have in front of those parentheses. This is really 9 times 9 to give me a plus 81. And this is really negative times 4 to be a minus 4. So now we complete the square or factor this, right? So this is 9y plus 3 squared minus x minus 2 squared. And then this equals, when you simplify this, we're going to get 9. This always needs to equal 1. So I need to divide everything by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1. So you can leave this as y plus 3 squared. But so that I can visually see what we have, I'm going to put that over 1. I can't do anything here. So this is minus x minus 2 squared over 9. And now this equals 1. So from here, I can now go through and start answering some questions. Okay. So find the center. What is the center? Let me give you a minute to think about it. Find the center. What is it? All right, this is what we highlighted. Because I have this y first, we have this equation here. And so remember, your center is always HK, but your H is with your X and your K is with your Y. So my center is 2, -3. My transverse axis is parallel to the, because Y is first, to the Y axis. Okay. We need vertices, foci, and asymptote. So vertices is always with A, and my A is always first. It is not the bigger, that's ellipses. A is always first. So my A squared is 1, which makes A plus or minus 1. And so you can either graph this or you can use your formulas here. That's up to you. I do feel like a lot like these formulas, so I will show you kind of how to use this. Okay. I originally folded this right here, so all we could see is this, but then I'm missing my labels here. So my vertices, we use this formula here. All right. So it is H stays the same. So my H is 2. And then it is K, which is -3. And then plus or minus A. So plus A. And 2, -3 minus A. Okay, H stays the same, then K plus A and K minus A. So that means my vertices are 2, -2, and 2, -4. Now, I personally don't like using these. It's just one more thing to memorize, one more thing to understand. What I would do is graph this and just figure it out. My center is at 2, -3. I know my transverse axis is parallel to the Y. So that means all of my stuff needs to be parallel to that Y. So if A is 1, I'm going to go 1 unit up. And A is -1, so I'm going to go 1 unit down. And so what are those ordered pairs? Well, that's -2, -2. Or sorry, that's 2, -2, and then that's 2, -4. So I personally just like using the graph to figure those out. Okay, now I need focus and asymptote. Focus is C, and I don't have C. What I have is B. So here we have B squared equals 9. So therefore B is plus or minus 3. So I'm going to use my formula of B squared equals C squared minus A squared. My B squared is 9. Don't know C squared, and A squared is 1. Add your 1 over and we get 10 equals C squared. So C equals plus or minus square root 10, which can't be simplified because it's only 2 and 5. And the square root of 10 is about 3 point something, 3.2. So for the foci, and let me move this. I'm going to show you again how to use the formulas, because some of you guys might like it more, especially with this one, than the actual graph. My focus now, right here, tells me H stays the same, and then we will do K plus C and K minus C. So my H, I'm trying to put all of this in here. Okay. My H is 2, comma, we'll do K, which is still -3, and then plus C, and my C is square root 10. So plus square root 10, that doesn't simplify, so that just is what it is. And then my second one is still H, comma, K, and now we will subtract our C, so minus 10, square root 10. So here are my foci. Now you can again gather that from the graph. When you graph this from the center, I'm going to go up 2 and some, or 3 and some change, and down 3 and some change. So from the center, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more for my focus. And from the center, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more for my other focus. And then just kind of common sense here. All of these points have an x-axis or an x-coordinate of that 2, right? They all have an x-coordinate of 2, which you can see that. The center's at 2. The foci are at 2. The focus are at 2. They all have an x-axis of 2. And so then you just take the center, which is at -3, and add, and then you take that -3 and you subtract, which is what we get here. Then lastly, we need the asymptote. I'm going to go ahead and do the entire equation just so you can see it's not that bad. And then I will show you what they want. So if this is parallel to the y, here's my equation for my asymptote right here. We have y minus k equals plus or minus a over b x minus h. And we have all of that information. Here is my h, here is my k, here is my b, here is my a. So plug that in. We have y minus k, which is -3, so this is y plus 3, equals plus or minus, my a is 1, my b is 3, over x minus h, which is 2. This is the equation of your asymptote. Now you could solve it for y. You could distribute the 3, subtract the 3 over, or distribute the 1/3, subtract the 3 over, but this is still an equation because that still has that equal sign. Now what it's actually going to ask for is just the slope And so this is the slope right there, that positive, negative 1/3. All right, this is a heck of a problem. We have analyzed the equation by finding the center, the transverse, the vertices, the foci, and the asymptotes, even though you probably only need the slope here, plus or minus 1/3. But now we still have to graph it. So all I am missing here from my graph is my B, so I can make my box. So from the center, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 over, and 1, 2, 3 over, and I'm going to make my box with my B and my vertices. Okay, there's my box. So then we'll make our asymptotes, which goes from corner to corner through the center. And corner to corner through the center. So this is going to be a very wide parabola. Go from vertice, hug your asymptotes. Vertice, hug your asymptotes. So my hyperbola is right there in blue. Okay, this was a heck of a problem. You need to make sure you know how to complete the square. You have 2, maybe even 3 problems on your test where you have to show me that you can take this from general form to standard form. So you need to make sure you understand it. So if you do not understand how we went from here to here, you need to rewind this video and watch that.